Bonjour, this is segment 1C. We're going to be talking about adjectives today, les adjectifs. We talked a little bit in class about adjectives already. We'll go over a few more details and things we didn't get to in class, and then we'll have an exercise. First though, I'd like to pronounce the adjectives in your textbook that they've given you. À la page 5. À la page 5. I'll just go through and pronounce them and then give you the English equivalent. So the first one, sauvage, feminine sauvage, wild. Rusé, rusé is the feminine, pronounced the same. This is clever. Doux, douce. This is gentle or soft. Gros, grosse is the feminine. Large, that can also mean fat. Long, and feminine longue, obviously long. Petit, petite, small. Actif, feminine active, active. Lent, feminine lente, which is slow. Fort, feminine forte, strong. Domestique, same, domestique for feminine, which is tame. And stupide, obviously what that means is clear. Feminine is the same, stupide. Agressif, feminine agressive, aggressive. Maigre, feminine maigre, it's the same. We get our English word meager from this word. It means weak or, I'm sorry, not weak. It means thin or scrawny. Next one, court, feminine courte, short. Grand, feminine grande, tall or large. Inactif, feminine inactive, inactive. Rapide, feminine the same, rapide, fast or rapid. Faible is the last one, feminine faible, which is our English word feeble comes from, meaning weak or feeble. Okay, the most important thing to remember about adjectives is that they must agree in number and gender with the noun that they modify. And we've talked about this a lot last year. We talked about this in class on Monday as well. That means that if the noun that you're talking about is feminine, the adjective has to have a feminine form to it. If the adjective is masculine and plural, the noun is masculine and plural, then the adjective has to be masculine and plural as well. And I know you know this, just wanted to remind you of that as you're going along to pay special attention that you're always making your adjectives agree in number and in gender. So let's talk about a little bit about how different adjectives will be made. I'm looking for my eraser, which has disappeared. Okay, oh here it is, reaching. So we're going to talk a little bit about how adjectives change their form when we want to make them plural. For the most part, adjectives add s to make them plural. This is especially true almost in every case when the adjective already ends in e. Like for example, sauvage, or rapide, or faible. All you have to do is add an s. Very simple, and a lot of adjectives fall into this case. Now what happens when the adjective doesn't end in e? That's when it gets a little bit trickier. A lot of times to make them plural, you still add s. But in this case, more often than not, this will only be for masculine plural. For feminine plural, you're going to have to add E and S. Okay, so some examples of this would be adjectives that end in accented E, such as rusé. Doesn't end in E, it ends in E accent aigu, so the plural would be rusé, masculine plural. Feminine is rusé, so we've already got our E here, so we add our S. Okay, another example might be long. Doesn't end in E already, so plural is going to be long. The feminine form is a little bit irregular, so you get the GUE on there, but then the plural is just going to be the S from that. Okay, so most of them are going to do that. However, we do have some special groups, don't we? On this page especially, we have a couple in that group with the IF, IVE. So that's one of our special groups. The masculine ends in IF, the feminine ends in IVE. What do you do in this case? Well, simple enough. You add the S for the masculine and the S for the plural, masculine plural and the feminine plural. So the stem changes for the feminine plural, for the masculine and feminine, but the plural just stays the same. It's the same form we've always seen where you just add the S. Okay, another special group we have is adjectives that end in AL. The plural will go to AUX. Like animal, animaux. Cheval, those are nouns of course, but the whole same holds true for an adjective. Let's go to an adjective instead. So for example, normal. If we want to say something is il est normal, he's normal. Plural goes to normaux. Just like in the nouns, AL goes to AUX in the plural. All right, let's talk a little bit about placement. If you remember, adjectives usually follow the noun that they modify. That's different than in English. Usually our adjectives come in front of the noun. We talk about a big person or a sad day. But in French, for the most part, adjectives follow the noun that they modify. But we do have a big group of adjectives. Okay, maybe not too big. A medium group of adjectives that precede the noun. And if you remember that little memory jogger that I gave you, bags, this will help you to remember adjectives that precede or go before the noun that they modify. Adjectives having to do with beauty, adjectives having to do with age, relative goodness, meaning good or bad, and size. And these are all, of course, in your chart in the back of the book. Remember that wonderful chart I told you guys about? That chart is your friend. Use it, especially while you're reviewing in these first couple of weeks here as we go. So make good use of that in your book. So adjectives that describe beauty would be, for example, beau or jolie. Age could be jeune, vieille. Well, let's go with vieux because that's the masculine form. We'll talk about that one as a special form in just a second here. For goodness, we would have bon or mauvais, which is the opposite, of course. Bon, mauvais, what would be another one? Gentil, which means nice. And size would be our last one. So we have the ones that we know pretty well and we have used a lot. Grand, gros. We think of some others. Petit, long. Okay, there are others in that group, but I think we've caught the majority of them. Well, let's add nouveau here. New. So these are the adjectives that will come before the noun in the sentence instead of after the noun when you have a more complex sentence. Okay, so just to review that, then the last thing I want to go over is those special forms on this one, and this one, and this one. So I'm going to have that erased. And if you want to look at page 283 in your book, 283. Do you remember your big numbers? 283.